Okay, I told you things would change, and now they're changing. You've been warned.
Yeah, yeah. Too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad. She got me thinking that she too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad. She got me thinking that she.
Okay, so two specific changes. I have glasses now. This is new. I'm still getting used to dancing in them. So if you have any tips for how to dance in glasses, please send them. The second change is the actual episode itself. So this is going to be kind of like a throwback episode, but not in the way that I'm just going to replay an old episode. I want to show you a clip from an interview that I did with my friend Sean. She's amazing and has so many good thoughts. But I asked her this specific question. She kind of gave several different answers to it, and I really want to dive into what she had to say and kind of expound on it. So here's this clip.
Because at that point you start transitioning, not just like you said, not just giving someone moves, but then you start transitioning into like instruction. So like,
Right.
what would you say is the biggest difference between being a choreographer and being a dance instructor?
Yeah. It's, I think that as choreography, it's like you have a concept in your mind, you have this vision in your mind of what you want something to look like, and you can do it. Let's say you can do it. You can, choreograph a dance, but actually, like I said, that instruction is like casting that vision and actually like giving people instruction on how to carry it out. And so, it's very important if you want to step over into that I want to teach lane that you figure out, how to do that and do it well. And like I said, like with my mentor, I had her to kind of lean on. I didn't quite ask her, but once I really got serious with dance, I started to really lean in on people who I saw could really do that well. I would just by going to class, I would just kind of observe and be like, "Ooh, I like how they took their time to break this down or that down," because that's important. You can have a concept in your mind, but if you can't, I mean, we didn't, when people come to to classes, they don't come to see the instructor dance. Like, it's like, I did not pay to watch you
Want
kill it.
to.
Okay? Can you
I
help me?
want to kill it.
Help me. Yeah.
Checkmate. Oh,
Right. So I think that's the difference. Just having a concept in your mind is like the choreography part. Like, oh, I can, this music makes me feel this way. I have come up with this magic that fits my body. But now instruction is stepping into how do you let people into your world and kind of embrace that and go through that with you. So they just don't look like they're outsiders to your story. You know what I'm saying? You hear what
wow.
I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for real.
So that's good stuff. That whole conversation was amazing. You can check it out on YouTube. But the very first thing I want to point out is her distinction between choreography and instruction, right? Some people don't even make that distinction, which I think is super important. Teaching and creating are two separate worlds. I should probably make a video about that sometime, but I'll cover some things I think about that in a second. She says choreography is having a vision, right? You have something that you created, you have something that you made up from your own creativity and it fits your body and you're doing all these things, right? Or you have this thing in your hands. Instruction is now casting that vision. It's allowing people to step into your world and to basically live it out and giving them a place for, giving each person a place to kind of make the vision come alive. And I think that's super important because it touches on what we said last episode, which is about intentionality. We have to be intentional about what it is that we're creating, right? So she says you have to have a vision. That's the choreography side. So you have to be intentional about what it is that is in your mind. Like you can't just be a choreographer. You have to have something to choreograph or to give to somebody else. So what is it that you want to envision? Or what do you already have as a vision and how do you make it a reality. And then instruction comes in when it's like, okay, I'm now casting that vision, not just to me, I'm not just keeping it in my head, I'm giving it to other people. And I think this is where the distinction goes even further, that I would kind of, I guess, use Sean's thoughts as a trampoline to say, that could be choreography, like literally choreography, like a dance to a specific song. Or it could be something a little bit deeper, right? So if you're a teacher, I'm a hip hop teacher for several different studios. I get hired out to do that. But I don't always focus on just the choreography. Sometimes I go whole classes without doing any choreography. And that's because I'm trying to get them to learn or to hone in on something very specific. And so my vision is to see my students, whether it be a private lesson, one student, or a whole classroom full of 20 kids, I envision them as being themselves, but now having this skill. So that's my vision, right? I don't just keep it to myself though. I now cast the vision to my students. I now say, okay, here is your part. Some kids get it immediately. And I'm like, great, now I'm gonna tell you, let's go a little bit higher. And this person's gonna be kind of like a little more of a spike in the heartbeat monitor, I guess you could say, versus other people, they have no idea what's going on. And that's okay, I'm now walking them through how they enact that vision. Because in my head, the vision that I have in my mind is for everyone in the classroom to get it. And that's really important for instructors to have, because you have to have a vision of where you're going in order for people to hop on and have the vision cast upon them. So I think that those two things that Sean pointed out are super important. So the next one wasn't really that big. She kind of like said it as an aside, but I really like to like pull it out, because she said that she started focusing on what it means to be a teacher and what it means to be a good instructor by paying attention in class. This is where I'd like to, if you're wanting to be a teacher in the future, that's awesome. But for people who are already teachers watching this, choreography, dance, instruction, or otherwise, you really need to realize that they are watching you. And by they, I mean your students, right? Like, you are the vision carrier. And so you need to act like it. And for me, that's like one of the scariest parts for me as an instructor, because obviously I'm a choreographer and I'm a professional dancer and like performer, but instruction and dance education is my heart. That is not only my bread and butter literally monetarily, but it's also what keeps me going every day. I love teaching and instructing people and growing them in what and who they are, what they can do and who they are. And so you need to realize, I actually wrote a blog post about this, that people are watching you. So when you are instructing someone, like, your students aren't just passively accepting, they're also taking note of not only, they're accepting and absorbing not only what you teach them, but how you are teaching them and who you are as a person while you're teaching them. So again, Sean just kind of said it as an aside, but it really shows you a little insight into what it means, what it's like to be a student. And I feel like as soon as we lose what it's like to be a student, we stop becoming successful teachers, period. Because then we kind of like are disconnected from the people we're talking to on a daily basis. It's like, I don't know anything of what it's like to be, to be an Irish dancer, right? And then all of a sudden I step into the shoes of step into the shoes. That was perfect. I step into the shoes, metaphorically speaking or physically, step into the shoes of an Irish dance instructor, right? And so now I'm like, this is what we're doing. And I have no idea what it's like to be you, right? Like, you have to know what it's like to be a student in order to know what it's like to be a good teacher. The last thing I want to touch on that she said was being an instructor is allowing people into your world. That it's like helping them to embrace it and like guiding them through it. And then at the very end, she was like, you don't want them to be outsiders of your story. And I think that is super important, because I think that touches on, my personal opinion, it touches on the position that we have as teachers or as dancers in general. We have to be open to let someone into our world. And that focuses on two main things. One, It has to be real for you, right? Your world has to be 3D. You can't be faking this. Because as soon as someone walks in and then they like touch a wall and it falls over because it's made out of cardboard, it's like, you don't really believe this. You don't really live this. But when they walk in and they knock on wood or concrete, they're like, this is solid. This is real for you. And you have to be like, yeah, this is real for me. This is my vision. This is my dream. This is my world. And that's not about to say like you can't be scared, you can't be insecure, because everyone will hit those at some point, but it has to be real for you. You have to have insecurities based off of a real thing, right? Like, this is really precious to me. That's why I'm insecure about it, because it's so precious to me, right? This is my baby. This is my vision. This is my choreography. This is my story. What that also means is that someone is entering into your world for the sake and for the benefit of their world, which is also 3D. Yours is like a side quest in their main story, right? It might be super impactful. Don't get me wrong. It's not flippant. It can be super impactful for them, but that's not their story. Their story is, oh yeah, I went to this class one time and I met this instructor and it changed my life, and now this is why I'm on stage as I'm performing. And you're like, that, I think back to this person and I'm like, wow, like this is so incredible. Like what I got from this person changed me. I feel like this whole show is turning into anecdotes. I guess real life is the best teacher. Tattoo that on your face. Real life is the best teacher. I had a student that I taught musical theater to, private lessons. I saw her in a production she was in this past Saturday night. Saturday night. And so she didn't tell me this, but her mom was telling me how she was talking with her daughter, and she told me that she never realized what she gained and how much she gained from the private lessons that I gave her. And so the mom was thanking me for intersecting with that student at a specific time in her life. So me being the instructor that I would have done that with anyone, right? Not to say I don't love that student. She's amazing. I love her. But I would have done that for everyone. Like, you deserve to have good quality lessons that are for you, for the benefit of what you want to use it for. And so me being myself, that was 3D. I was just being myself. She actually said that. She's like, you just being you was exactly what she needed. And I was like, first of all, crying. Second of all, that's a side quest for her, because her whole life is not running Beat Hunter Dance. Mine is. But now she's experienced this thing and gone away, and now she's like, whoa, I gained so much from this. And so now she can take everything from that side quest and put it into her 3D experience. So, like Sean said, being a choreographer is having this vision. But being an instructor is different, because you're now having to tackle this next obstacle, I guess you could say, this next task of saying, hey, you, come into my world. All that from one specific question in one specific conversation with Sean Labadie. You can check out her information down here. And also, lots of things are happening at the headquarters of Beat Hunter Dance. K-pop is still happening, 12 p.m. Saturdays. Kids class is still happening, 5 to 10. Ages 5 to 10. That's a long class. Ages 5 to 10 from at 1 p.m. Saturdays. And I'm now getting to start adult hip hop, which is 18 and up, anyone 18 and up with any kind of experience. That will be 2 o'clock Saturdays, starting February 11th. So hope to see you there in any kind of capacity. Or if you want to take private lessons, obviously that's what I specialize in, and we can get some one-on-one time and grow you for your main story.